Hello, beautiful sacred feminine. So beautiful to be here today, and I'm so glad that you're joining. It has been a while. I've been on quite an adventure, and nice to be getting back here. I've been on quite a wild ride. I was with family for a few weeks, visiting them about 10 days in Austin, Texas. I'm still out here living life on the road, of course, and that was a big part of my journey, just getting to Austin by a certain date. It's kind of funny when that's like the one thing that's structuring your time. Like, I just gotta be in Austin by May 23rd, and that's about it. As far as like places to be anyway. Other than that, it's pretty free to roam about. So went there and did that for my niece's graduation. It was a really lovely time being with family. Of course, being with family always brings stuff up to the surface, right? Family is our biggest teacher, and it certainly was. So some emotions and things that I needed to work through that I didn't maybe realize we're quite there, right there, so ready to go, but they certainly were. So stuff came up to the surface, and got to work with that, and I'll save that for another video. But we all know how that is with family, right? I'm sure. What I wanted to get on here and talk about today was some anger, the repressed anger of the wounded feminine, which I know is easy for some of us to maybe not relate to so much, or not recognize how it's showing up for us, and hence the repressed anger. We are so good at pushing anger down. We've been told that it's not healthy, it's not okay, it's not acceptable, it's not welcome. And so from a very early age, we've been taught, the majority of us, to stifle that anger, to hide it, to push it down, to not express it. We're supposed to be good little boys and girls, and not angry. I know there's more consciousness around that now, and people are letting their children, or supporting them to express energies and emotions more, but for the most part, that was not our experience. So we've gotten really good at shoving it down and not addressing it, and finding ways to project it onto others. Maybe we're angry, but it's because of something somebody else is doing. If they weren't doing this, we wouldn't be angry. We can put this onto our partners a lot, maybe our bosses, people at work, the people at the checkout line, people in traffic. If only they were doing whatever, we'd be fine, right? That's not really how it works, though. Unfortunately, it's us. It's our energies that we're projecting outwards. And as we start moving along our spiritual path and self-help or self-improvement path, we start to recognize this more and more, start to understand it more and more, and become more able to recognize and work with our own stuff, our own patterns. We're able to take responsibility for ourselves instead of projecting it outwards so much. But I thought one of the big things that I do support women with and help to bring more consciousness to is this repressed anger. And I felt like a perfect example of this showed up for me a few days ago. I was on a networking call with a woman, a colleague, and we were just powwowing over medicine and prescriptions, actually, and our business, and how we're growing our business, and the ins and outs of that, and what's involved and such. And through that, she was explaining to me, talking to me about connecting with men, and men telling her like how pretty she is, and she's wanting to be taken seriously as a business person. She's got her doctorate, she's done a lot of work, that she wants to be respected in her field, and how she's showing up, and what she's bringing to the table, and what she's putting out there. And she's being met with, not every time, but men and maybe not taking her seriously, or just more valuing her for how attractive she is. And as she was talking about this, she was getting more and more frustrated, and I could just see a lot of anger under there about that, kind of underneath. That was just, it's not like she's walking around like a pissed off, angry person, but when the moment the situation arises, or triggers it, it's right there, and there's a lot of it. And I was just like, yes, this is the anger I'm talking about. This is the repressed anger. That is exactly what I'm trying to support us to become more aware of, and release, and work through. because repressed, it's keeping us from being in our power. For her, she was projecting this outwards. It's angry at them, when really she's probably more frustrated at herself for not just being able to stand up and say, that's not acceptable, for having strong boundaries, and or to not even be bothered by it. If we're totally in our power, we're not bothered by other people's behaviors or whatever they're doing, because we're just in our power and we know who we are, and we're just like, yeah, okay, so that's why we need to look at this anger. We need to address it. We need to bring it to the surface. We need to bring more consciousness to it, and we need to release it, because when we hold it in our bodies, this is where a lot of dis-ease in our bodies come from. The stress, the tension, anxiety, lowered immune system, inflammation, because that's what anger is. It's inflammation in our bodies, and this gets into our organs. It gets into our bones, our brains, our energy body. It gets into our hearts. We're defensive, we're shut down, we're angry, we're pissed off. And it's not like, again, we're walking around like we're angry all the time, but it's there underneath the surface. There's a lot of things a lot of injustices that we are angry about underneath. It's running below the surface, and it's running amok and really causing a lot of turmoil for us, and really hindering our ability to have deep, strong, loving, powerful connections with other beings, because the anger is there, and it doesn't take much for it to arise. When we first get into a relationship, it's all loving and blissful and lovely, and then as we go along, that starts to fade, and we start getting those irritations and frustrations that are coming out towards our partner, towards the other person. Or maybe this is a job, you start a new job and it's all great, and then as we go along, we start getting starting to irritations and frustrations towards other people and towards the situation, towards whatever. That's the repressed anger that's there. We can mask it and cover it up for a while, or we can bypass it for a little bit, but ultimately, because it is the truth, it is our reality, it is our energy, it's going to surface. It's going to surface, and we're going to be back in those same patterns again. We're going to be back feeling the same frustrations, the same irritations. We're going to start shutting down again. We're going to start shutting down our hearts. We're going to start distancing ourselves so as not to get hurt or not to get more frustrated, more angry. Then we start closing our voices down. We start not expressing because we're scared of the anger, and we don't feel validated, and we're valid in expressing it and saying it in a healthy way, and we don't even know if we can do it in a healthy way. We aren't skilled at expressing anger and setting healthy boundaries for ourselves, so we continue to repress and repress and repress. It's just a vicious cycle. It's just a vicious cycle. So yeah, and this really shows up a lot in resentment in relationships. I just went through this myself, which really helped me to get in touch with my own repressed anger. Just really projecting out, if only he would blah, 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 everything would be okay. And it's just I kept doing this, but also trying to look at myself, obviously, everything is a mirror. So I'm being triggered. What is going on here? It's deep, deep, deep unconscious, deep-seated anger. And this is maybe not even all ours. It's, coming from other lifetimes, coming from our ancestors, coming from, the intergenerational trauma and anger piece that I'm always talking about. We've inherited a lot of this energy. So we don't even, maybe it's not even, of course, there's personal anger that we have and such, but some of it is, stuff we inherited. So it's even a little bit harder to get a handle on. So yeah, the more I started working with this and bringing it to my conscious, finding ways to express it and to move through it and to really kind of pick it apart and work with it at a bunch of different levels, because we need to use our mind to kind of really work with the patterns and see how it's showing up for us, how it's spinning out in our minds, work with it at an energetic level. How do I move this anger out of my body, because it's deep in my cells, it's in my organs, I need to move this out. How do I do that? What is the emotion behind this? How do I get that? And how do I get a handle on that? And how do I, recognize it and start working with it when it arises, instead of it taking over control and just going, because this anger it can ruin a day, it can ruin the week, it can ruin the month, it can ruin a lifetime, really. We know so many of us we have that experience of somebody who just goes to their grave just bitter, 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 and pissed off, and that's what happens. The more and more this goes, it's harder to come back from, and we get trapped in that, and we feel valid in our anger, and it's only hurting us, really. I mean, it's not pleasant to be around, of course, for our family and loved ones, but it really hurts us. It hurts us. So I just thought that was a perfect example of how women may not recognize, like, yeah, I'm really working with a lot of repressed anger here because it's so repressed, but it's right there beneath the surface. And maybe this will help you to recognize the next time anger comes up for you, and where is it coming from? What's triggering it? Are you setting healthy boundaries? How do you feel about that anger? What do you normally do with it? How do you cope with it? How does it feel? Do you feel guilt and shame? Do you try to talk yourself out of it? Do you try to quickly shift into another gear? Do you make excuses for it? Do you blame somebody else for it? Do you project it outwards? What happens for you when the anger comes up? This is a great place to start with this self-inquiry. Okay, what's going on for me? Wow, I'm feeling really pissed off right now. What's going on? What's underlying this, Because it's not that outside factor. There's always outside factors to piss us off. That's just true. It's our internal. When we're coming from an equanimitous place, when we're feeling love and knowing that we are love and feeling totally worthy and valued and cherished and held by ourselves, by the universe, by whatever, we're not so prone to anger. We're not in that frustrating, irritating place. We're just taking it as it comes, and life is life, and things are happening, and we're okay. We're not pissed off. We're not irritated. We're not frustrated. We're just like, okay. And we're putting ourselves in situations where we're not getting pissed off. We're not surrounding ourselves with energies that are frustrating us and upsetting us. That's part of being in our power. We're making healthier decisions for ourselves because we're vibrating at a higher level. We've raised our frequency. So like attracts like. When we're working with our energy and clearing out that anger and such, we start attracting more nourishing experiences into our lives. So if we are surrounded by things that are angry all the time, getting us angry, we really need to look at that too. Not only ourselves, but what are we bringing in? What are we attracting in? So those are things that I work with, helping us to look at that, helping us to bring more consciousness to what's really going on under there. And now how do we shift it? Energy healing, sound healing, writing, so many tools to really awareness. A really big piece of this is recognizing our patterns and starting to make different choices instead of being on autopilot, being in reactivity. We need to take control of ourselves and our energy and our emotions and start working with them in a more healthy way instead of letting them just run the show, because that's miserable for us. Absolutely miserable. Been there, done that, not fun. Just total reacting all over the place. Not a good way to be in the world. So this is what I'm working with. This is why I'm passionate about supporting us to bring all of this to our consciousness. Start making healthier decisions for ourselves. Start making healthier choices. So, there's a couple of tips and tools in there if you want to start exploring that for yourself. Writing is a great way, a really great way. And when you're ready to take it further, take it into the next step, energy healing and sound healing are great. I offer one-on-one sessions. We can really start deep diving into this, how this is showing up for you, and start clearing the energy at that level, because some of this stuff we can just clear out. Some of it is going to take some work and really start working with our patterns and such, but some of this energy is ready to go. Especially right now, we're being so supported with the leveling up of our consciousness and the more light on the planet right now. A lot of these energies are they're ready to go. So let's help them on their way, bring some conscious intention to them and clear them out. So I'm here when you're ready. I've got a couple of programs to really deep dive into the wounded feminine and into your energy body, and getting a lot of really good practices around how to work with your energy body and how to clear out the low vibe, dense, unhealthy, depleting, draining experiences from your life, and start moving into a nourishing, loving, supportive experience for yourself. And that starts with you, with your energy body, and what you're bringing into your life, what you're surrounding yourself with. So we're really going to pick that apart in my 12-week program and really look at all the avenues that are not serving you, and give you so much empowering tools and awareness and confidence to start making healthier choices for yourself. It's a total freaking game changer. And Like, you know, you can go to my website and check out what people are saying about this program, but man, it's like, whoa, it's amazing. It's really amazing. So, and then the women healing through intergenerational trauma is really going to help us get into this unconscious grief and anger piece. So, check those out, and both of them, you know, feel free to contact me and let's see if that's a good fit for you, because you know, maybe not everybody's ready for this level of work. It's pretty deep dive stuff. So but I am so confident in how powerful this is, and it will be a game changer for you. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to supporting you on your journey in any way, shape, or form. Oh, that reminds me, we have I offer a number of healing circles monthly that are by donation, because I really want to get this out there to so many of us, and I don't want anything to hinder our ability to get these teachings. So donate, give what you can. There's new moon circle, full moon circle, ancestor healing, really working with this energy of anger and grief, and a grief healing circle for more like non-death related loss, grieving the loss of our connection to ourselves, to our hearts, to our intuitions, to our bodies, to healthy sexuality. We've lost so much along the way through the patriarchal regime, and I'm not blaming the patriarchy, it's just what it is. So now let's work with it. You know, like it doesn't help us to be in victim mentality around it. The patriarchy is there. We've all contributed to it. This is just what we're working with, and that's totally fine. But how do we work with it in a really conscious way and start moving out of it? So that's what these circles are about. The other one, is earth healing ritual for the land that you're on and for our planet. We really need to clear this dense, heavy, fear-based energy, clear it off the planet, and support us all to be in a much higher vibration frequency of love and joy and compassion and peace and connection. So check those out again by donation. You have to register for the Zoom link on my website, so all that information is down below. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear what you are working with. What kind of anger do you deal with? You know, what comes up for you when you're listening to this video? So thank y'all for being here. It's such a pleasure. I love it. I love the time that we're in. I love all that we're moving through. I love all the awakenings. I love all the consciousness rising, you know, all of this coming to our consciousness. Before it was just, I'm angry, I'm pissed off. Now we have so many tools to work with this, and it's beautiful and it's exciting. So I look forward to supporting you on your journey. Thanks for being here, y'all. Bye.